Hello and welcome to PPC Live, the podcast. I'm your host, Anu, the founder of PPC Live. And if you're used to hearing advice from PPC experts about how to ensure that we're keeping up with the ever-changing landscape, don't worry, you are still in the right place. Every week, I speak to a different PPC expert about the different F-ups that they've experienced, but also how they've turned things around so we never leave things on a defeated note. Today, I have the delight of speaking to Charlotte Osborne, who owned an agency, but now she's independent and works with founders to ensure that they are keeping up with, how to stand out, how to cut through the noise of all the different things that Google says you should do and loads of people in the industry say that you should do. And she shares an issue that she had, a mistake that she made early in her career about account structures. One would think something as simplistic as, talking about account structures. How big a mistake could that be? Well, we're going to find out about how a mistake can be made when you just go ahead with the wrong account structures. Yeah, account structures is a big thing in our industry, from how we used to make it so granular to how Google prefers you to consolidate it. It's something that different paid search experts have spoken about, and it's something that different podcast, guests have also spoken about. So yeah, definitely a popular topic. And Charlotte gives a very brilliant example of how to watch out and steps to ensure that you're putting a good account structure together. So yeah, let's go speak to Charlotte. Hello, Charlotte. Welcome to PPC Live, the podcast.
Hello, how you doing?
I am so good, thank you. I'm so looking forward to this episode. Like, Charlotte and I have just been chatting for maybe half an hour. And it's like we've only really met once, yesterday before the recording this. And it's like just two people who just like to do the whole.
It's like we've known each other forever.
Honestly, it so feels that. And I just love that. It just makes everything so nice, natural and organic. So our listeners are in for a treat. So who is Charlotte Osborne? Charlotte is a PPC expert with 16 plus years of hands-on experience turning ad spend into real growth. She co-owned a digital agency, but now she's managing millions. Well, she used to co-own an agency where she was managing millions in campaigns, but now she helps founders, in-house teams, and marketers cut through the noise, take control of your ads, and drive results that actually matter. Because in the world of AI, everything is like, you can do everything with AI. And honestly, there's so much noise, especially with search engine land. There's so many new things, major news, major update. Not everything is major, guys. Figure out what works for you. And now going to my fun part of the intro. Fun fact, Charlotte, let us know what your fun fact is.
There's not a lot really. I'm pretty boring, but I do have 2 pugs. Very cheeky, sometimes naughty.
Of course.
But yeah, very, very lovely pugs. So yeah, fun facts about me.
Nice. What's one interesting fact about pugs that most people don't know?
God, I don't know if it's that most people don't know. I'm not sure if people know or not. I definitely didn't take it into account. They're very, very barky. They're also very needy. So if you want to go to the toilet on your own anytime soon, don't buy a pug. Don't have a pug. Yeah, they literally follow you everywhere.
Yeah.
I think they were bred to be companion dogs.
Okay.
So they're bred to be sort of lap dogs. So they literally don't leave your side. Yeah. So if you like personal space,
yeah,
don't bother with a pug.
You know what? I didn't know, and I didn't do too much because I've got a cat. But at some point I was like, I was getting on the years. The dude wasn't coming along because, men, let's not get down that path.
That's a whole different podcast.
That's a different podcast, and that's not what people are coming to listen to. But still single, and I was like, look, I'd like a pet. And I actually thought maybe a dog, because I like dogs. I thought dogs were cute. And I was like, should I get a pug? And I looked at maybe one website and they were like, if you want your independence, don't get pugs are needy. You can't just go traveling. And I love traveling. And I was like, that may not work out. Because I do find them so cute. They've just got the cutest faces.
They are.
Some
they
people
are beautiful.
say that they're bred in a way that their breathing could be better. What's that about
the
breathing?
So actually, I mean, one of ours is a rescue, but the one that we got as a puppy, he's actually been bred kind of better.
Okay, good.
So like we went to a really good breeder. So his snout isn't quite as like pushed back. He doesn't have any breathing issues.
Lovely.
Like he's got longer legs. So he actually doesn't look like a potato,
No,
which is
honestly.
what a lot of pugs look like, potatoes, don't they?
Oh my
So
gosh.
he's a lovely specimen, but yes.
Nice. Nice. Yeah. Anyway, let's get into what this conversation is about. Charlotte is another one of those very kind folks that, I posted about something random on LinkedIn like I do. And, she was very kind enough to engage with my post. And I was like, oh, she looks like an interesting person that's got a lot of experience in this industry. We need to get her on the podcast. And when I reach out cold DM like that, like, how dare I do cold DMs? I hate it myself. I'm always like, oh, will they say yes? I hope they said yes. And she immediately said yes. So grateful, Charlotte, for that. And, when I just looked at your experience, I was like, yes, we could learn a lot from you, especially for the fact that now you're in the phase of trying to, get founders to be on the right track of our fantastic industry. So yeah, let's get straight into this story. This is a very interesting story that, Charlotte has already previewed me for. So you guys are in for a treat. Yeah, Charlotte, what is the F up you'd like to share with us today?
Oh God, yeah. So this particular F up, a long time ago, so beginning of my career, when I hadn't had as much experience, I wasn't really learning from other PPC people. It was where I was kind of teaching myself in quite a small agency, and I inherited this account. It was converting okay, but on the surface, I was kind of like, no, I think we need to kind of rip this up and start again almost. And that was fine. I think like the structure was definitely in need of some work. But the cardinal sin, which I made, was that I essentially kind of rewrote kind of over existing campaigns, existing ad groups.
Right.
And so everything got really messy. Performance tanked.
Oof.
And then I basically like had a real job for myself. So I had to kind of really try and unpick the mess. There was no sort of clean line between like before and after.
Okay.
So I wasn't using Google Ads editor. I had no backup. I had no single point to sort of revert back to. And it took me hours upon hours. I was literally going through the change history, kind of, just in a real kind of state of anxiety, like trying to sort of undo things, not really knowing whether there was one single thing that had kind of tipped things over the edge or if it was a collection of things. It gives me PTSD, like just thinking about it now. And don't get me wrong, I've made lots of F ups in my career. But that one really, really stuck with me because I didn't know how to fix it.
Right.
And I kind of, I made lots of changes and I kind of essentially reverted back everything that I could based on memory and the change history and everything. Performance did, did kind of restore, did improve a bit, but I think it was just too far gone.
Oh.
It was before smart bidding, we're talking kind of 10, 15 years ago.
Okay.
But on the surface, like, I thought this structure is amazing. It's really clean and it makes sense and it's logical and technically it's best practice. I was doing a lot of kind of SCAG stuff. So those kind of single keyword ad groups. But because I'd rewritten over stuff essentially, rather than kind of start clean and be able to make that direct comparison, I just gave myself a hell of a lot of work to do to try and sort of pull it back. So, I feel like I'm not over it, to be honest. Are you getting that sense?
Getting that sense. And now this is where I feel a little bit guilty because I'm about to be like, let's dig deeper into what happened and what.
Yeah. Oh, let's dig deeper. Let's go there.
Yeah, let's go there. This will be therapy. This will be therapy for you. You'll look back and be like, that is why I'll never make that mistake ever again, right? This is the whole point of this.
Yeah.
So, like, you said you were quite junior in the team. kind of thing. So you would have had a manager. And so was that
Well,
kind of, did the manager what like get, yep, we need to do that? Or was that kind of thing like you were trying to impress? So you were like, yeah, I know what needs to be done. You went in.
yeah. So this was a very small agency. So it was,
Okay.
my manager was essentially the director of a digital agency,
Oh,
and
wow.
PPC wasn't their strength.
Mm,
You know, it wasn't kind of where they'd come from specifically. Like, we were trying to grow this
yeah.
out as a service.
Yeah.
And so, I was kind of, and this is kind of what spurs me on as a Google Ads trainer these days, is that there are still a lot of agencies out there like that, the smaller agencies where maybe they're just trying to build out PPC as a service, and there's not that framework, there's not that training resource, there's not that, the quality checks, or
Yes.
the somebody to bounce off of and go,
Yes.
I'm going to do this. Do you think that's a good idea?
Yes.
And it's only kind of as my career's progressed that I've realised that all that I probably needed to stop making that mistake and going down that route so drastically
Mm,
was just a conversation
yeah.
with somebody internally that was like, hang on, but common sense says that maybe let's keep it really clean and separate, and then kind of conserve the conversions
Yeah.
that you're already seeing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't try and kind of, destabilize that. But I didn't have that.
No.
And so, yeah, it happened. You learn from it.
Yeah.
But I definitely know what I would do differently
Yeah. Yeah.
now. But, when you're in your early 20s and you're,
Yeah. And you kind of even just quite directly answered that the question, my next question, which a lot of different people answer it in different ways. The whole, what did you miss? And usually people will be
mm,
like, oh yeah, I didn't check this or I didn't check that. It sounds
mm.
like what you missed was even the training and maybe the correct foundation at that stage. Would you say that's right?
Yeah, no, absolutely,
Yeah.
completely. And I think, yeah, if there's kind of, if I could do my career again, like, I would love to start in a really established agency, like, even if it's as an intern or
Yeah.
maybe an unpaid member of staff,
Yeah.
just to literally absorb everything I possibly could. And I didn't do that. And there were reasons I didn't make those decisions at the time that, there must have been. But yeah, if I could go back, that's what I'd do. Or I would continue working in that small agency, but I would make sure that I was spending, you know, a portion of my week upskilling myself,
Yeah.
training. And I kind of was doing that, but there wasn't any structure. I was kind of, I was trying to manage accounts and then make time for that course over there that kind of looked good, but maybe still wasn't teaching me the fundamentals. So yeah,
Yeah.
lesson learned on that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Lesson learned. And I think that we've gone far enough. I'd actually even reckon that I'd say that when you started, it was probably like a thing. And maybe even the industry being so young, which of the
Mm,
agencies would kind of could have said that they were established enough to know all the best practice of paid search. But
yeah.
now agencies know better. Now the industry has gone further enough. Google has given a lot of like, different updates on, how things should be done, things that how why what gets disapproved, what account structures needs to be like and all that
Mm,
kind of stuff. Agencies should
yeah.
still not be deciding we're gonna start an agency as a two-man band and we're just gonna
Yeah.
throw the junior
Yeah.
person in without
Yeah.
having any training to so yeah, I'm really hoping agencies are doing better by their junior staff by giving them the right training. Yeah.
Me too. Me too. And I think, it's very, you're managing budgets, you're managing clients. Like, it's a lot of responsibility. And there has to be that kind of support system. There has to be that framework. There has to be, and don't get me wrong, I think you learn from making mistakes, but there also has to be a mechanism in place to sort of say, look, if you're restructuring an account, or, you're going down a certain route where there's significant changes being made, there has to be someone there that's going to sort of maybe challenge you and go, well, hang on, like, before we do that, you know, have
Yeah.
you checked? Duh, duh, duh,
Yeah.
duh, duh, or why are we doing that? Like, what's the motivation? I mean, my motivation was definitely high, increased performance,
Performance, yeah.
But it was also probably, a bit of, this looks really messy, I want to clean it up.
Yeah.
And actually, like, something that feels like good housekeeping isn't necessarily going to be good for performance.
Yes. Yeah.
And I definitely learned that the hard way,
Yeah. Yeah.
15 years ago or whatever it was. I mean, I think the biggest, I don't know what your next questions are, but the biggest piece of advice I would give someone, regardless of knowledge level and kind of how long they've been in the industry, is just to kind of slow down a bit.
Yeah.
And, we have a tendency in this industry, there's a lot of, amazing sort of people that are working on accounts. And we've all got, the best intentions and we want to do really well.
Yeah.
But sometimes we kind of rush into it. And rather than kind of trying to fix everything at once,
Yeah.
just kind of go, hang on a second. If I fix that one thing, then I'm going to see that it's that moved the needle,
Yeah.
whichever way that needle
Yeah.
goes.
Yeah.
Whereas if you fix everything, it
Mm.
stands to reason that if results go the other way, you're not going to know
Yeah.
what you did.
Yeah.
And it's going to be really difficult to kind of maybe see what you did. But yeah, just slow it down.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just slow it down, phase in those changes.
Yeah.
Don't try and do everything at once.
Yeah, absolutely. Phasing in, doing step by step. And like when you make the account structure error, because also even giving people insight into how quickly cause and effect of these kind of, changes and mistakes can be. How soon before you were like, something's gone wrong? Or was it pretty
Mm.
much like immediate, or it took maybe a few days?
It was a couple of days,
Okay.
definitely. I mean, their spend wasn't so high, or their conversions weren't so high that it was noticeable immediately. But the change was significant enough for me to go, okay, it's something that I've done. It absolutely is. It's not seasonal. It's not somebody else has come into the market. It's not
Yeah,
the
yeah,
client.
yeah,
The
yeah.
website's not down. It was nothing like that. I knew instinctively that it was
Yeah.
something that I had done.
Yeah.
And when you're in, since then, I've done lots of restructures, and you when you're coming from a place of phasing or being able to create that really clean line, you don't feel that level of anxiety because you're like, okay, well, that didn't work,
Yeah.
but I know what I need to do now to fix that.
Yeah.
I just revert X, Y, and Z, and that's absolutely fine. And it's going to take me 10 minutes, not,
Yeah.
20 hours
Yeah.
to sort of pick through everything in a panic and just hope for the best. So, it's not just about phasing it's or not doing the restructure at all, because
Yeah.
sometimes that is what's needed. It's about doing it in a way that if it tanks, you can go back.
Yes.
There's always a path back.
Yes.
So yeah, I just want to be clear that it's not about making the changes. It's about sort of putting a process in place so that you don't have to you're not landing in the weeds,
No.
rocking yourself to sleep.
Yeah. So you said put the process together, because that's another question of like, what do you now do differently?
Yeah.
What did that mistake wake you up to? Like, okay, this is how I have to do account structures
Mm.
moving forward. I mean, you said the whole thing about making sure you like, you do it step by step. Is that pretty much it, or is there like anything else in terms of like process that you make
Yeah.
sure you take on board?
Yeah, I think absolutely phasing any significant change, sort of isolating a change and kind of going, right, we're going to give that 14 days to take effect.
Sure.
And then once we see the impact of that, then we go on to the next thing and so on and so forth. So absolutely phasing. Maybe even sort of running some of the existing stuff alongside anything new.
Yeah.
Now that's not always possible, but leaning into experiments
Yes, factually. I was
in
gonna
Google
say
Ads.
experiments, like 50-50% kind of thing. Yeah.
Structural change is harder
Mm.
to run those on experiments, but even if, because what you don't want to do is end up conflicting,
Yeah.
essentially bidding on yourself, kind of in
Yeah,
two
yeah, yeah,
separate
yeah.
parts of the account and get cannibalization. But definitely using sort of A/B testing, reducing budget on kind of the legacy stuff
Yeah.
and increasing the budget on the new stuff, and then pausing anything old once you realize that actually, great, you've done your job, performance has increased over here. But again, not removing anything.
Yeah.
Always pause, never
Yeah.
remove, because you
Yeah.
never know when you might want to need to sort
Yeah.
of turn that stuff back on. Yeah, just being really, what's the word? Being really kind of purposeful
Yeah.
about everything you do.
Yeah.
Having a really good plan before you do it. So rather than just diving straight
Jump
in,
in.
yeah, spend a day, on the strategy and kind of going, okay, this is what I'm going to do. This is when I'm going to do it. This is my logic behind it. And, it might feel slower. It might feel, maybe not as exciting,
Yeah.
but I swear to God, like, it will hold you in good stead,
Yeah.
because if you did what I did, you're gonna get some grey hairs, I think.
Yeah. Bless you. Oh, bless. Okay. Now, another question I'm very curious about, and
Mm,
even though I kind of have a feeling that I know what the answer is, in terms of, because you've already said about how the agency was very small. Your manager was actually the person who led was the head of digital marketing. Was
yeah.
there how did they take that whole tanking in performance, or were they just like, make the mistake, fix it, and like, did they figure it out? Were they annoyed?
Um,
How did they take it?
I think they were worried from a commercial standpoint,
Sure.
right? I think the instinct for them was, well, if I don't understand the platform enough to know what she's done wrong, then they didn't have any control. That they had less control than me, because they were coming from a place of, I don't even know PPC. They didn't know how to fix it. So they're very reliant on me to sort that out, which, I did to a large
Yeah.
extent.
Yeah.
But I think they're kind of worried. I didn't get into trouble or anything, but I think the worry, their anxiety was, we're going to lose this client, and
Yeah.
the commercial implications of that, which
Yeah.
obviously I completely understand. But I think, again, I think this is potentially a danger when you
Mm.
have quite a small, agency where perhaps PPC isn't their first service. Maybe
Yeah.
that owner or the comes from a web design background or an SEO
Yeah.
background or
Yeah.
something, but they have a PPC team.
Yeah.
If you're not really in touch with the whys, the whats, and the hows
Yeah.
of that day-to-day work, it becomes very, very difficult to have eyes on it in the same way so I think that comes back down to kind of how you structure your agency, what training you have in place, whether you're hiring seniors as part of your
Yeah.
team,
Yes. Yeah.
and all of that kind of stuff. So yeah, I think there's probably a bit to it. But yeah, they weren't. I definitely didn't get into trouble. I think they could probably see that I was beating myself up enough,
Yeah.
which I'm thankful for. But equally, I think there was a bit of stress. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, it just makes me nervous. Well, like, so you were the PPC person. Was there any other PPC person that was maybe managing another account?
I think there was. I
Yeah.
think there was another junior at that time, but
Yeah.
again, there was no one senior. I think I was probably, I didn't have a senior kind of job title, but I was definitely probably seen as you're the PPC person, you're managing accounts, and you're going to grow this team. And I think in hindsight, yeah, at the very least I should have had a framework, and I should have
Yes.
had a
Yes.
process
Yes.
to sense check really big structural changes
Yes.
against somebody else.
Yes.
Even if that was a layman, because I think even laymans can go, well, hang on, have you thought about this? Have you, doing everything in one go? Is that a good idea? I mean, I still have clients questioning me, and they're coming from a place of, I don't really know PPC, but
Yeah.
they're asking questions
Yeah.
that come from a place of logic and common
Yes.
sense. So, I definitely think that, having at least that is a good idea. And unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah.
15 years ago, I didn't have that. So
You didn't. Yeah, yeah. So
no.
don't just hire junior folks in your team, not give them a framework, not give them someone who can be like, okay, this is how it should look like. But also listen to lay people that don't actually work in paid search in terms of just having someone else to be able to sense the check. And those kind of companies, because one could argue that, yeah, your digital marketing manager, he could have been someone to bounce things off, but it was probably quite a bit of a team where he was too busy with too many different things
Yeah.
to be the kind of person to
Yeah,
have that.
and trusted me to have all the answers. And
Yeah.
I think, when you're 22, 23,
Wow.
and you're still learning, and there's a lot that you're doing that's right, but you're still kind of, in that space where you're making mistakes.
Sure.
It's a lot of pressure, and it's, yeah, probably not the way to, you know,
No. And
grow
it
a
makes
team.
me think you're saying that you made this mistake maybe like 15 years ago. That's right at the
Mm,
start of your career. I mean,
mm,
on one hand, you go into a job and you're like, yeah, excited. I've got a senior role. Maybe the paycheck is better. But then you start going
mm.
into it and you're like, actually, I'd have loved a lot more guidance than I've got right now, I think.
Yeah, yeah, and I think, this is not, I'm absolutely not bashing kind of previous employers over the head at all, but I do, I'm 41 now, and I do look back and I think, do you know what? I could have learned so much more, so much quicker by some really, like, there's so many people in this industry that, I mean, I'm still learning from them now. But, back then, sort of 10, 15 years ago, when Google Ads was still, I mean, it wasn't new, was it? But, you think back to kind of the really old
Yes.
interface,
Yes.
kind of 4 iterations ago, or whatever
Yeah.
it is, and there were still, like, some really cool people doing really cool things, and I never felt that was accessible to me to really kind of absorb from other people. And so, yeah, like, it's
Has
it's one of
changed.
those things, isn't it? Yeah.
That has
Yeah.
really changed, and it's really cool how that has changed. So a lot of companies, a lot of like, agencies, or even if you're a brand, we don't have the excuse not to surround your team with people who will know things
No.
a lot better than
Yeah.
you, and that
Yeah.
and that they can learn
Or
from.
access, yeah, or
Or even
access,
access, yeah.
kind of resources or courses. I mean,
Yeah.
I learn from sort of peers in PPC every day.
Yeah.
Every day. There is not a day that goes by where I don't go,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
cool. And that might just be from my LinkedIn feed,
Yeah.
or, joining a podcast.
Yeah.
Like, so, I don't think there's a lot of excuse from it. But I think if you really want to kind of facilitate that in a growing team, in a small to medium agency, I
Yeah.
think you need, as an employer, um, or head of search, whatever that looks like, I think it is also your responsibility to kind of go, learn, 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 learn,
Yes.
absorb, go and do this, go and do that.
Yes.
Yeah, but
Yeah. Absolutely. We have delved so much into this, and you'll be happy to know that we're gonna, move away and, leave your PTSD in the back in the past again. But that has been such a great, great, great revelation in terms of how you went through that. But also even in terms of like if you had an advice for maybe someone who has just discovered they've done a big account structure and the
mm,
performance has tanked, what's your
mm,
advice to them?
breathe,
Okay.
don't
Yeah.
panic, try not to panic. It's easier said than done,
Yeah.
but kind of go back, kind of think, okay, what did this account kind of look like on day one? Hopefully, you've put some measures in place to be able to go back and make that comparison.
Mm.
If you haven't, you're in for a ride, but I promise you, tomorrow is another day,
Mm.
and you will absolutely learn from this. Like,
Yeah.
you will never make this mistake ever again,
Mhm.
because if you're the right person, it hurts, like, it will hurt
Yeah.
you. The world's not going to end. It's fine, but, just kind of breathe and just kind of try and retrace your steps. But
Yeah.
hopefully it's not as bad as it was for me, and you've got that kind of before and after,
Yeah.
and, you can go back, you can take
Yeah.
it back. But if you're really, really, really struggling, then reach out and I'll give you some advice. If you're kind of in the pit of despair and you really can't revert things back, and I will kind of help you the best I can. But it's not the end of the world,
No.
you know?
No.
It's all good. It's all good.
For those who are not, maybe you're listening to this and you're not watching on the video, Charlotte has just got such a trusting face. And I'd be like, take
Oh,
her up on that. Take her up on that. When she says,
yeah, yeah, I'm
reach
here to
out
help.
to me,
Yeah,
absolutely reach out to her. And because that's what we want to do with people in the industry now, juniors in the industry. We're not all behind walls. It's not all like, oh, we don't work for the same agency, so I can't share anything with you.
no,
All of that is in the past. We just want everybody to do things well. Like I feel like I really like that the industry has just gone into this phase of like, we want the integrity of how we do things to be better.
absolutely.
And it's all of us involved. We want to make sure if someone else is doing it wrong, I almost feel like bad that I didn't, like, how did they not have
Yeah,
access to the information to ensure that they're
a-
not doing it right, And
absolutely.
that's just how I feel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I couldn't agree more, honestly. And I think we need to normalize. I think somebody put a post up yesterday on LinkedIn, actually, I can't remember who it was, but, normalizing feeling embarrassed,
Yeah.
asking for help, saying I don't know, or saying I effed up. What do we do? Can someone help me kind of get out of this? Or like, where do I go? And yeah, I think we just all need to kind of help each other and share knowledge and share information. And I think I've absolutely come from a time where you're almost kind of, you've got people saying, don't copy my homework.
Yes.
I know what I'm doing. There's almost a kind of, a bit of an ego.
Yes.
And I have no time for that. Let's cut through that
Yes.
bullshit, excuse
Yes.
my language. Let's do this really well. Let's do what we can. Let's help each other. Let's share knowledge. Let's keep bettering people. Let's
Yeah.
keep bettering each other. And that's what's going to be really great for this industry. Like
Absolutely.
that's how we do better PPC. And it's as simple as that, really.
Absolutely. And the way I also say it is that there's enough business to go around, because I think that there's
Yeah.
enough
Yeah.
fear of like, oh, they'll steal my clients and there won't be enough clients and I want to get all the
Mm,
clients. You can't work on all the clients. No one person can work on all the
no.
clients. You
And
need there's
no. And
enough business
find
to go around.
And it took me a long time to sort of find my lane. And I think, a lot of people are the same, whether you're training, whether you're doing the doing. There's some people that really love e-com and there's some
Yeah.
people that really love lead gen. Like,
Yeah.
you know, do you want to really think about, do you actually want to service all the clients?
Yeah.
Probably not,
No.
So yeah, I think,
Sometimes between you and and all my listeners, I don't want to service any of them.
well, yeah, yeah,
Just be
yeah,
like,
yeah.
here you go. You want all the clients, have all the
Yeah.
clients.
Well, we were talking about that year-long
Oh,
sabbatical earlier, weren't we? So, that might not be too far
so
away
far.
from what you've said.
Bless, yeah, that'll be that's on my vision board. It's on the vision board for sure. Taking a sabbatical, who knows? So yeah, no, that has been we've taken so much time, and some people are like, I know, we're gonna have time to talk about other people's mistakes and AI mistakes. Yes, we are. So let's squeeze that in, like mistakes that maybe you've seen in audits that make
Mm,
you go blue in the face and going, how
mhm.
is this still happening? What's
Yeah.
insights do you have for us?
God, yeah, I mean, so many, but I'm still doing audits, and I would say the number one thing is no conversion tracking set up, or it's been set up incorrectly. So,
Yeah.
conversions are double counting. I think the thing I find most frustrating about that is that it's not too difficult to do. I think there's a perception sometimes it's really technical and really intricate. I don't think it is. I'm not saying it's not technical at all. Of course it is, but I don't think it's kind of outside the realms of most people's, kind of capabilities. So I get really disappointed, especially when I'm auditing an account that's being run by an agency that just haven't done that or has set it up incorrectly, because essentially, like, a lot of, I would say 90% of accounts that I audit these days are using smart bidding,
Yeah.
which means that you're asking the algorithm to optimize against those conversions.
Yeah.
And if either they're not there or they're, that's been set up incorrectly or it's double counting, then you're really doubling down on rubbish
Yeah.
essentially,
Yeah.
or stuff that you can't quantify. So that's the big one. The other thing, and I'm seeing this more and more recently, I'm not sure what's happening, but no negatives at all. So going into exclusion lists and there being no negative keyword lists, the odd one may be added at campaign level, but certainly nothing kind of ad group or kind of shared list related.
Okay.
And that is bad. That is
And are these campaigns that are using broad match?
some of them, some of them. Yeah,
Cool.
yeah, yeah, some of them. So, yeah, like one of the things kind of I will do kind of straight away is almost kind of run a tally on traffic that's cost the client money, where
Nothing.
they've essentially, haven't had a conversion and they would never have a conversion on that keyword because it's
Yeah.
just so far removed from what they do. Just to sort of, I guess, paint a picture for a client of, well, hang on, that's my money, or that company's money. Like that's a tangible, that's 200 quid, 300 quid gone, sometimes a lot more than that. So yeah, some big things coming out of audits,
Yeah.
but they're the two that really grind my gears because it makes such a difference
Yeah.
when managed correctly.
And those are perfect examples to that question of things that shouldn't be happening in 2026. Because if it
Mm,
was maybe 2016 or 2014, where, Google was, this whole paid search thing was very young and traffic was what was really all that was important. Yeah, you could get away with that because we're all like, oh, yeah, we got the visibility, we're getting the traffic. But
mm,
now you are being judged on the conversion coming back, you're being judged on the revenue coming back. And,
mm,
and it's not just like, oh, we're getting clicks, therefore paid search is working. If you're not getting
yeah,
conversions, is paid search is not working,
yeah,
regardless
yeah,
of the clicks. And then if you're just pushing broad, no negatives,
yeah,
the whole targeting has come such a long way.
yeah,
That's something that Google give us a lot of. Even with the whole AI, you can target by audience, you can target by different keywords, creative types, and that kind of stuff. And if you're not doing
mm,
any exclusions, yeah,
yeah.
you shouldn't be in
And
the game.
notice as well that those two things, they're not, shiny new objects. They were around, years ago. So the fact that you can inherit an account or audit an account that doesn't have those two things nailed is quite worrying,
Yes.
really. I mean, I would say that the keywords exclusion stuff not so much of an issue when an agency has been on the account. I mean, it absolutely can be, and I've definitely seen massive gaps. But that tends to be where you've got somebody trying to manage it in-house maybe,
Yeah.
or, it's been left for a long time,
Yeah.
which is perhaps more understandable. But the conversion setup is across the board.
Yeah.
I'm seeing that kind of on a weekly basis at the moment, whether it's an agency, whether it's an in-house team, an owner manager, whatever. And it's the first thing I fix or would fix.
Mm-hmm.
And once you fix that, you kind of know what the state of play is, the real
Yeah.
state of play, and then everything else kind of can move from there. But without that, you are, yeah,
You're flying
you
blind.
just well,
You're,
you're flying blind,
yeah,
exactly.
absolutely flying
Um,
blind.
so and without it, you're wasting a lot of money. So yeah, invest in a really good conversion tracking setup,
Absolutely.
I would say.
Absolutely. And how about like mistakes when it comes to AI and how AI is used, implemented, or assumed to work even?
Hmm. Maybe slightly controversial. I've not seen great results or people talking about great results with AI Max in platform at the moment. I'm absolutely happy to kind of have my mind changed on that, but I'm hearing and I've seen on a couple of accounts of my own
Yeah.
that it's bringing in a lot of kind of irrelevant. It's all, it's like broad essentially.
Sure.
And even when you have exclusions in place, AI Max is bringing those keywords in when you've already excluded them account level. So I've seen a few things with that I've not been enamored with.
Yeah.
In terms of how people are using AI to kind of manage accounts and things, I love it. I love it. We're now in a position where it can really remove a lot of the heavy lifting,
Yeah.
a lot of the tactical,
Yeah.
sort of manual, time-consuming
Yep.
jobs, which fantastic. My stance on it is that we should be giving AI as much context
Yes.
as we can. Context is everything, but perhaps not going as far as giving AI permission to make those changes in the
Yeah.
platform.
Yeah.
So where I am on that is great. It's, it's produced it's gone through my search query
Mm.
reports
Mm.
and it's, shortlisted some negatives for
Mm.
my review.
Yeah.
But what it hasn't done is apply those negatives to my account without me as a human and somebody that knows that account and business and client really, really well. And okay, great. That's fine. I'm happy with those. I'm now going to implement, and I'm sure there's lots of people out there that will argue with me that will say, well, if you give it enough context, you can trust it to do
Mm.
the automation and to
Yeah.
sort of do it for you. I'm not quite there yet.
Yeah.
Proof's in the pudding for me. I still think that we as humans are needed on the account. I think freeing up time so that we can focus more on strategy, perfect. But having AI make those changes for us without any human intervention, I think is potentially a little bit dangerous at the moment.
Absolutely. Like there are these there's this term that I see going around called a Claudit, as in having Claude audit. What is I can't do
I don't know, but I love it.
too close. What have I done? What have I done?
That's amazing.
I am going to have to do something. Oh my God.
You're
Sorry.
going to
Give me
pan
a
out.
second. I might leave a few seconds of it in just as like,
That'll be
what the heck?
brilliant.
Oh, that was hilarious. Oh God, where was I now? So yes. So I've been hearing like this term called Claudit that
Hmm.
you use Claude, the fun AI tool to just do an audit of your account and implement stuff. And it's like so
Yeah.
dangerous to you to just give AI the controls. And another friend, Amit Kabra, was like, yeah, people are about to get into trouble with like, it's, the whole Google them being like, well, you cannot then blame performance on us at
Mm,
all. And, and they'll be able to
mm.
get away with a lot more stuff if you're not careful. And the permissions, they're going to start really working more on that than the permissions of
Well,
that.
it's really interesting as well because, perhaps there is an overlap with some of the same people that have been saying, don't have auto apply recommendations on in Google Ads. Don't let Google Ads, implement ad copy without your say so,
Mhm.
keywords and so on and so forth. But then some of those people are now using Claudit to then
Yeah.
automate some of
Yeah.
that stuff. And
Yeah.
it's like, well, hang on, it's no different. It's
No.
no different.
No.
So I think AI is great. I think, if, I use Claude a lot and I
Mm.
use Claude Code a lot
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
And there are some really, really good resources out there to learn how to take away some of that manual heavy lifting. But I'm talking about presenting you with the findings of
Yeah.
of that heavy lifting, not actually going ahead and implementing it without
Yes.
you having eyes on it.
Yeah.
I think we're still in a position where we all, as account managers, business owners, and with PPC accounts, where we absolutely need to say, "Great, thanks, Claude. I agree with you," or "No, I'm glad I caught that. You're wrong."
Yes. Yes.
And I think
Yes.
that's kind of where we are at the moment.
And I think we underestimate how much they will be wrong. It will be
Mm,
there. Like their AI is very good at doing things quickly, not
yeah,
necessarily accurately. They don't
yeah,
AI doesn't care about the accuracy of it. They're literally like,
yeah,
yeah, I can just, go through a lot of data and that's great that you can go through a lot of your data, but it might just bring out the wrong things that you actually didn't want. And yeah, we
yeah,
definitely need that human
yeah.
insight on it.
And it's only as good as your input as well.
Yes.
So, what if there's an element of the context that you've given it that is out of date or
Yeah.
that you've kind of written incorrectly or that they've interpreted it incorrectly?
Hmm.
So, yeah, I think, yeah, I'm sure there'll be lots of people out there that will, say that they know better and that they'll disagree with me. But in my experience so far, I think you need somebody to catch the mistakes.
100%. 100%. I absolutely, absolutely agree with you. So, yeah, and I think our listeners will also agree with that because I think a lot of us are still like, no, don't just get hand over
Yeah.
control. What's the point of you then? We're all like, oh, yeah, AI is going to take our jobs. Not if you're
Mm,
going to give it to them. AI doesn't even
yeah.
have to do the taking. It's just literally, you're just telling it to do everything. Of course, then what's the point of you from a CMO's
Yeah.
point of view? So, yeah, we always
Absolutely.
have to consider that we're the strategists, and AI is never going to be a good strategist, in my opinion. So, yeah,
No, certainly not yet. I mean,
no, yeah, you never
we'll
know.
see where we are in a year's time.
God, oh God, right? Charlotte, this has been such a fantastic chat. As you know, I already foresaw this. We could go on and on. Usually the
We
episodes are
could.
shorter, but it doesn't matter. I love this. I love this conversation. It was so great to have you on the show. So, but
Well, thank you so
before
much for having me.
My pleasure.
Been
Absolute
brilliant.
pleasure. Before we leave you, if your PPC career were a movie, our nice last fun question, what would your
Yeah.
movie title be for your for your
Yeah.
career?
So I haven't had time to give this loads of thought, but it has to be Fast and Furious.
Okay.
Like it
Okay.
has, like with how quickly things move in this industry.
God. Which
Yeah,
which
Fast and
which
Furious.
which of the movies? The number one or number 10? How many have they done so far? I don't
God,
even
I
know.
mean,
They
what?
just keep
I mean, I mean, what's the fastest and most furious one? I don't know.
no,
I don't know.
probably one. It's been getting slow. They're getting older now, right? So they've got to be
Yeah,
getting a bit slower.
exactly. Yeah, Vin Diesel one is
In
in
it.
my frame, but
In it.
yeah, no, yeah, Fast and Furious for sure.
Yeah.
But I love it. I absolutely wouldn't change anything about
Yeah.
sort of this industry or sort of being in the industry. I think, yeah, there's some days where you sort of tear your hair out and you strap yourself in and go, oh, okay,
Yes.
right, this roller coaster again. But
Yeah.
it's brilliant and it's exciting and it's full of great people like yourself. So
You're so kind. You're too kind. And yourself. It's just, and for me, I'm just so
thank you.
excited by the fact that I at a stage, not that I feel like I knew everybody, but it's like I kind of, you feel like the people who write on Twitter every day or who write on LinkedIn every day, they're the ones, and okay, and I kind of they followed all of them are following, we're following each other, and to still for me to discover that, oh my God, I don't know Charlotte, and there'll be like, another lady I interviewed that day, Heidi. I was like, Heidi, how do I not know of you? And I am just so excited. For me, it's like a kid in a candy store. They're new people to know. They're new people for me to figure out and discover and chat with, and it's my favorite thing to do. So yeah, it's just amazing. We're at a nice stage of the industry now. I
I
feel
think
so
so.
many.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. There's some great people coming through, and
Mm,
you know, dare I say it, I think there's some like brilliant women in our industry as well, and I think sometimes that doesn't always get recognised.
yep.
It's historically been quite a male dominated industry.
Yes. Great men. Yes.
Amazing men in our industry, but it is great to see some women sort of get some airtime and
Yeah.
be recognised as well. I know the PPC survey came out fairly recently, and
Yeah.
it was really good to see some of those kind of female sort of names in
Voices.
there.
Yeah. Yeah. No, absolutely agree with you. All right. So if people want to, get in touch with you, they've just made a very bad account structure mistake and they were like, I
Yeah,
need Charlotte. Where is Charlotte?
yeah,
How can people
yeah.
find you?
So you can contact me on LinkedIn. It's probably kind of the easiest. So Charlotte Osborne, Smart Click Media. Equally, my website, so smartclickmedia.co.uk. If you know get in touch via there as well, I'll come back to you as soon as I can. But yeah, it'd be really really good to connect with any listeners that want some more advice or just want to kind of connect and maybe share some knowledge. That would be amazing.
Amazing. Thank you so much for that, Charlotte. It's been, again,
You're
very
welcome.
great chat, very open about your story. And I hope people do reach out to you. All the links that Charlotte has shared will be shared in the show notes. So you'll have easy access to directly click through that one. But yeah, for now, thank you so much, Charlotte. And I'm sure we'll catch up again very
It's a
soon.
pleasure. Thanks so much, Anu. Yeah,
Awesome.
great being here. Take care.
You too. Thank you so much, Charlotte, for sharing that very honest and transparent experience about, your mistake, your misstep with account restructuring that account. Definitely, we should all just remember like that very amazing tip that Charlotte gave about ensuring that if you're going to do a restructure, do it step by step, have a plan. But also, if you do mess up with it, take a deep breath. It's not the end of the world. There's always a solution to these things. So for all the information and the full transcript of that fantastic episode, please go to podcast.ppc.live and you'll get all the full details, the links, and even pictures to our lovely pub. So for PPC Live event updates, we've got the next event happening in a couple of weeks in Brighton on April the 29th, and would love for you to have us. Would love to have you there. And for you to have us to take up your time for in the Wednesday evening coming up to Brighton SEO. So it's going to be another fun evening. We're going to be led by talks from Jack Wilmore, from Emina Demiri, and Julia Rimmel. They're going to be talking about growth. They're going to be talking about ROAS. They're going to be talking about ensuring you're using automation very well. These are the important topics that we need to be discussing in 2026. So please just go to ppc.live. We still have tickets left, and we're going to be doing some last minute increase in prices because things need to be done differently if we're expecting someone that literally just bought a ticket the day before. So please don't be the person that has to pay the most expensive for the tickets. So go to ppc.live to experience that, to ensure that you experience this event with us at the cheapest price that you can get it right now. So before I leave out of you, I'm also delighted to share that I am taking on coaching clients. And just in case you need help with your confidence and just taking hold of your career and ensuring that you're in the driver's seat of your career, because life can just seem like you're doing a job, but you really should be knowing what your future is like, not just for interview purposes, but you should know what your 5-year plan should be. So let's get on a call. Let's discuss that. There's a 15-minute discovery call that I provide. Just go to themarketinganu.com so that we can have a chat to ensure that we put together a program that works specifically for you. So I hope you've enjoyed the show, and I look forward to bringing more PPC F-ups and triumphs next week. Thank you. Bye.